Fit the button panel 45C inside the remote control front casing 45B. Make sure that the centering pivot inside the front casing matches the hole in the button panel. Refer to the image to check the correct position of the remote control circuit board PCB 45E. Place it between the remote control front casing 45B and the rear casing 45A. Pay attention to the plus symbol on the battery holder and insert a battery into the holder, respecting the polarity. Then insert the battery holder into the slot between the remote control front and rear casings. Turn the on/off switch 41D located at the bottom of the fuel tank to the on position. Then press the first button on the remote control. Press buttons 4, 5, and 6 to activate the different sounds that are played through the speaker 41C. Use buttons 2 and 3 to increase or decrease the volume. Press button 7 on the remote control to activate the low beam light on wire E43A, the dashboard light on wire B42B, the license plate light on wire R44G, the engine compartment light on wire D42C, the 3 trunk lights on wire Q44E, and the brake lights on wire P44D medium intensity. Press button 8 control to turn on the high beam on wire F43B. Press button 9 on the remote control to turn on the reverse lights on wire O44F. Press button 10 on the remote control to turn on the rear left turn signal on wire M44B and the front left turn signal on wire C43C. Press button 11 on the remote control to turn on the rear right turn signal on wire N44C and the front right turn signal on wire H43D. Press button 13 on the remote control to turn on the warning lights. Now press button 12 on the remote control to turn on the brake lights on wire P44D. They will light up more brightly, and the third brake light on wire I44A. Press button 14 on the remote control to activate the front fog lights on wire G43E. Press button 15 on the remote control to turn on the passenger compartment light on wire A42D. Finally, press button 1 on the remote control to turn off the lights and turn the car's on/off switch 41D to the off position. Place the steering box pinion 46B on the steering column 1, 46E and secure it with 2 AM screws. Then place one of the steering column joints 46G between the 2 tabs on the steering column 1, 46E and secure it with 2 IM screws. Place the second joint 46G on the free end of the steering column 2, 46F and secure it with 2 IM screws. Then, connect the steering column 1, 46E and the joint 46G mounted in the previous step to the steering column 2, 46F as shown in the image. Secure the parts with 2 more IM screws. Insert the steering box crown 46D into the steering box 46A, and secure the steering control lever 46H to the end of the crown using an AM screw. Fit the steering box pinion 46B into the side slot of the steering box 46A, paying close attention to the correct orientation of the parts so that the steering wheel can be correctly aligned afterwards. Then place the steering box top cover 46C on top of the steering box 46A and secure the parts with 2 IM screws. Fit the end of the steering control lever 46H onto the pivot of the steering rack 21E. Note the correct location of the assembly in the detail image. Insert the GM screw into the end of the steering control lever 46H. Use 2 AM screws to secure the steering box 46A to the chassis front left side member 20A. Connect parts 1, 46L and 2, 46M of the oil cooler. Then insert fitting 1, 46J slightly curved and fitting 2, 46K straight into the highlighted holes in the oil cooler, paying attention to the position of the parts. Locate the free ends of the lubrication lines 8Q and 8P and connect them to the oil cooler fittings 46J and 46K respectively. Carefully insert the 2 lower pivots of the oil cooler 46L into the highlighted holes in the chassis front left side member 20A. Insert the pivot at one end of the crankcase rod 46I into the hole in the crankcase top 6F. Secure one end of the accelerator cable 1, 46P to the pivot on the accelerator cable bracket 10G. Connect one end of the intake manifold cooling hose 46O to the free pivot on the steering pump connection 14P and the other end to the pivot on the intake manifold pipes assembly 9J. Secure one free end of the intake sensor hose 46N to the right pivot of the throttle sensor 10M and guide the rest of the hose through support 9P and 9Q. Leave the free end of the tube unconnected. Now it's time to distribute the wires connected to the main circuit board PCB 42A. Guide the following wires to the rear left of the chassis: I, 44A, M, 44B, N, 44C, P, 44D. Q, 44E, O, 44F, and R, 44G. Then guide the following wires to the front left of the chassis: B, 42B, D, 42C, A, 42D, E, 43A, F, 43B, C, 43C, H, 43D, and G, 43E. Cut few equal pieces of adhesive tape 22D and secure the wires to the chassis, as shown in the image. Disconnect the extensions of the wires routed to the front of the chassis and store them in a safe place for later stages of assembly. Finally, disconnect the extensions of the cables routed to the rear of the chassis and put them aside for use in later stages of assembly. Also save the small PCB board for wires Q44E. Note the position of the parts in the image and attach the front left wheel arch bracket 47C to the front left wheel arch 47A with one IP screw. Attach the front left brake vent 47B to the other end of the wheel arch 47A with one IP screw. Guide the wires located on the front left side of the chassis section 22A outward to clear the two pivots highlighted in the image. Place the front left wheel arch bracket 47C over the highlighted holes on the chassis front left side member 20A and on the chassis center and rear section 22A. Finally, attach the front left wheel arch bracket 47C to the chassis with 3 BM screws.